Well, hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, you thirsty bunch of beer drinkers, whenever and wherever you're tuning in from. Thanks for pressing play and supporting a Canadian podcast. I'm Troy Burtch with Great Lakes, Ontario's local brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery based in Etobicoke who brings you this here Between Two Fermenters, the podcast where craft beer and conversation collide, straight from the tanks to your ears. Today's guest is someone with an interesting story that has seldom been told. A fella who has been in this beer industry for a long time, quietly doing his thing without seeking accolades or attention. Someone who started their beer journey right here at GLB. In fact, after looking back through the Between Two Fermenters archives, I realized they're only the second former GLBer to join us, following Rob Bobo Hearn of Shortfinger Brewery. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Cam Fryer, co-founder of Royal City Brewery, is in the hot seat today. From early days at GLB, which we will explore in greater detail, to studying German history at the University of Guelph, to a single rock beer that quite literally changed how he thought about beer, Cam's path in beer feels both intentional and a touch serendipitous. Before beer became his career, there was academia, travel, and a formative stint in Germany that left a lasting imprint on how he approaches brewing today. After returning to Ontario, a job at GLB, and a growing obsession with homebrewing, which helped sharpen that vision, there is still more to do with Cam. In 2013, that vision turned into reality with the founding of Royal City Brewery, built from the ground up with a clear sense of place, purpose, and pride. Royal City isn't just another name for Guelph. It's also, as Cam has said, it's Guelph's brewery, from the name and the label art to the beer styles and community focus. Alongside co-founder Russ Bateman, Mr. Fryer has navigated all the highs, the lows, the hard lessons, big pivots like expanding the brewery into the beer hall, and an ever-evolving lineup of beers that balance tradition and creativity. Today we'll be digging into his early beer beginnings, the challenges of building something his way, the beers, the business, the community, and what it all looks like moving forward. Plus, a little advice for anyone crazy enough to want to start a brewery in today's world. So, sit back, grab a fresh GLB, and enjoy the show. Hang tight. We'll be right back with Cam Fryer, co-founder of Royal City Brewery.
It's Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery. We believe in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. It's Great Lakes Brewery. Order online for free local home delivery. In the GTA, good times and amazing beer. That's GLB.
Good morning, Cam. How you doing?
Hey, Troy, I'm doing well, thanks, buddy.
Welcome to glorious Etobicoke and to the Between Two Fermenters studio. It's great to have you here today.
Thanks so much for inviting us down. We're really happy to be here, and it is a beautiful day in Etobicoke.
It is that indeed. There is a beer in front of you. I want to get that into you right away.
I'm totally okay with that.
It's a Great Lakes light lager. This is the first time there we go. That's the first time we're doing light lager on this show, and at the end of the episode, I'm going to tell everyone a little bit about it because it's a beer that's very underappreciated maybe at Great Lakes, and it's early in the morning when we're recording this, so it's a great beer to start our day with.
It's never too early for a light lager.
That's it. Now, we've known each other for a long time.
Indeed.
We've worked together on the Ontario Craft Brewers Conference for years. I've been to Royal City, your brewery, a lot over the years, and we have collaborated in the past. But here's a confession of mine that I want to share right now. I don't really know that much about you and your beer career in the real history of Royal City. So I hope you're willing and able to unpack it all here today.
We can kind of peck around the edges. Sure. Okay. That's all right.
So the first thing, I'm going to throw you under the bus because I like to do a little bit of research. I like to know who I'm talking to and know the breweries and the history and all that stuff. There is no about us on your website. There is nothing on your website that says this is how we got started. Cam, I challenge you to go back to Guelph and get that up and running.
That is a fair proviso there, Troy. Yeah, we the risk of sounding like kind of like whatever. The Royal City Brewing isn't about us.
Of
right?
course not.
It's about the city. It's about the place. It's about the people and about the community, the people that come down and hang out there.
But if I want to know more about you as a consumer, where am I going? Like, yeah,
I'll come down to the brewery. I'm almost always there, unless I'm on a podcast in Etobicoke. I'm almost always there.
So bring your microphone and bring your stenographer and talk to Cam at Royal City.
Yeah.
So today, you're going to tell your story?
Yeah. I'll tell as much as you want to hear about.
All right.
How's that?
Okay, so let's get at it. So I said at the top that I went back and looked through all the list of guests, and I can confirm that you're only the second ex-GL beer, and there's a lot of them out there, but you're the second ex-GL beer that's been on this show. The other, Rob Bobo Hearn, the founder of Short Finger Brewery, was the first. So tell me about your brief beginnings in craft beer way back at GLB.
Yes.
When was it?
So I worked at GLB in 2010. I had to look that up. I thought it was like 29 or 28, 2009, 2010. But I was there in 2010. It was right before my girlfriend at the time and wife now, we decided to move back to Guelph.
Okay.
So we were in Toronto.
In Toronto?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I like that.
We were in Toronto. And we just decided it was time to go back out to Guelph.
So what led you to Great Lakes?
And
what were you doing there?
I was a beer nerd.
Yeah.
I worked at Volo prior to that, back in the days when I was on Dundonald there at Young and Dundonald. I was just really into everything beer. I remember we served a boatload of Great Lakes products at Volo back in the day. And I saw a posting for a delivery guy, and I was like, yes, that's me. And so there I was. I worked at Great Lakes for not quite a year, from a winter until the fall, as a delivery guy. So
yeah, and we just walked through the brewery before we came over to record this, and you were looking back at, my office now is where you, as a delivery driver, would go and pick up your orders back in the day.
That was it.
So bring back a little bit of nostalgia there.
A little pang, yeah. I was feeling a little pang.
What do you remember most fondly from that time period at GLB? Because that was a whole different era of the company. It was.
What I remember most about that time was feeling that it was right on the cusp of something really, really cool. Yeah. The energy was there, like the interest was there, like the direction was kind of like on the horizon, and it was like there was just a lot of energy sitting there. And it was really cool to be a part of that at that time as well. Because craft beer was a thing, but it hadn't really exploded at that point in time.
And your deliveries were pretty much going to the Great Lakes Lager, or back then it was called Golden Horseshoe.
It's Golden Horseshoe. Red Leaf was one of the other ones.
And Devils was out then as well too.
Yep,
but you had mentioned that you're like, when I come in and pick up my orders, I'm going to see where's the place I'm going back to for the third time this week, because back then it was we were delivering to different places, right?
Yep,
so it wasn't like what you would typically, equate Great Lakes to today with the beer bars, but it was you were going to a
whole load of bars up and down Roncy. That was the main spot.
And some that would have Great Lakes on tap officially, and some that wouldn't.
No, most of the ones that those ones are on Dundas.
Yeah, okay.
But no, most of the ones up and down Roncy was a Golden Horseshoe or Red Leaf taps.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, when you come back to GLB now, what stands out to you? But you had mentioned in all the years since you've left, you've only been back to the brewery a couple times. And the most recent time was this past summer, which we held or hosted the OCB annual general meeting, but you couldn't take a tour. You came up, you did the meeting and left, but we walked through the brewery today. So looking back from 2010 to today, what did you notice? I'm just curious.
Honestly, it kind of feels like the fulfillment of that promise from 2010. There was this space that wasn't really quite set up to do to be what it was going to become. And it was very cool to see how it's kind of developed and became that. Yeah. So that was kind of neat. And yes, seeing that the lager, those old packaging tanks are gone. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember a lot of very frustrating days helping out in the line when something just didn't get cold, or the compressor broke and we're not packaging today, and all kinds of stuff like that.
Those tanks, they were 50,000 liter lagering tanks.
Yeah.
They were glass-lined cast iron tanks, which is straight out of 1950s Molson, but they were in the Strange Brew movie when Rick Moranis has to drink his way out of the lagering tank at the end. Spoiler alert for anyone who hopefully everyone's watched that. It's a Canadian classic, but those tanks, not the same ones, but those tanks were the ones that were in Great Lakes.
That is kind of cool, amazing piece of Canadian honor there. I love that. I didn't know that actually.
Well, there you go. Really, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Now that's how
perfect.
That's how you got your start in beer. But let's go back before that. We're going to get into Royal City soon. That was a lot about Great Lakes. But who is Cam Fryer? Who was Cam Fryer pre-beer industry?
That's a good question. So I grew up in the GTA. Russ and I both grew up in Aurora.
Russ, the co-founder.
Yeah,
we're getting touch. Yeah,
I'll talk to him. Yep. He can wait. No. We both grew up in Aurora, and we moved out to Guelph to go to for undergrad. And while I was out there, I fancied myself a bit of a beer connoisseur because I would drink Rickards Red as a first year rather than just the usuals. But I had a lot of learning to do, clearly. But this was back in like 99. So, there wasn't a whole lot of options back then. But there were a few, but there wasn't a whole lot. I've just kind of always been very interested in beer and always very keen to learn all I can about it. When I was a younger person, that really manifested in trying everything. And then I kind of got a little bit more into the weeds of, okay, now how does this actually work? How do we make it? How do we produce it? And then it kind of turned into, how does this whole industry work? How do we get from point A to point B? How do we ensure that, the stuff we're brewing in 6 months from now is going to have a place to go? So I guess the further you go, the deeper it gets, I guess.
Well, that's your beer. I'm talking about Cam the person before beer. So you went to U of G, University of Guelph.
I did, yep.
You studied history?
I did. I studied history.
History in German?
No, I actually I did a major in history and a minor in German. Okay. And that was just, again, it's kind of serendipitous, the word of the day, I guess. My first year, I was like, I think learning a new language would be cool. And then back in the day, you opened the newspaper up and looked at what the courses were. And like, ironically, which is knowing what I know now about German, and it's in Germany, there's no course on Friday and it didn't start till 11. So I was like, sweet, I'm doing that one. And I wound up liking it and I just did a minor in it. And then right after I graduated, I got hired by the German government to come over and work in a high school there. In
Germany,
yeah. As a native English speaker. That's my one qualification at the time. I can speak. Don't ask me to do any grammar, but I can speak. And so I wound up in Nuremberg, in Germany, which was fantastic. It is probably one of the beer centers of the world. And just kind of spent 18 months there drinking everything I get my lips on, pretty much.
Now, before you went there, though, is this true? You took a beverage management course that...
It is.
And that's where you had the German smoked beer?
Where did you get that one from?
Oh,
that's a pretty good deep guy. Did your homework.
I tried to do my homework, yeah. So
did your homework.
That beverage course, that's where you tried your first German smoked beer and you were like, okay, this is...
Yeah.
What the hell's going on with this?
It was, so it was my last semester at Guelph, and Guelph, obviously, maybe not obviously, Guelph has, at the time anyway, had a school called HAFA, Hotel and Food Administration. It's one of the main, programs there. And as a little, it's my last semester of school, I'm almost finished, a little graduation present to myself, I'm going to take beverage management too, which is beer and whiskey.
You just wanted to drink the sales,
basically. And it said in the old newspaper there, do not drive to the lab on Friday. So I'm like, all right, I'm in. I don't have a car anyway. Sweet. But one of the beers they gave us that was Echt Schlenkerler Rauchbier, or Schlenk, I would call it, from Bamberg, Germany, which is a smoked lager, smoked Märzen. And it literally, I'm 22 years old, and this completely blew the top off my head because I'm like, I didn't know beer could do this. I mean, I've had a wide variety of different beers in Ontario and stuff, even from the States and stuff, that just kind of just becoming a little bit more present at the LCBO back in the day. But this was new. This was like, holy crap. I didn't know beer could do this. What else can beer do?
And then you got the chance to go to Germany, and then that just completely wrecked your career?
Pretty much, yeah. It went off the rails in 2003, and I've been off them since.
So what impacted that trip to Germany, or the trip, your work trip, let's say, have on your future brewing career? Is that when you developed the idea or conceived of the idea of one day I want to be in beer?
I don't think it happened that way at that point in time. And, the story, I'll jump ahead a little bit in the timeline here. I think I was probably one of the last people in my life to realize where I was going in my life. I
still don't know where I'm going in my life. Just to
That's fair. When we opened Royal City back in 2013, I remember going home one night and looking at my wife and going, "Oh my God, who'd have thought I'd own a brewery one day?" She looked at me. She's like, "Absolutely everybody. Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you?" Right? And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So yeah, I guess I was kind of one of the last people to kind of clue in that this is where I was headed.
But you're in Germany. You're teaching English.
I'm jumping ahead.
And you're drinking all this beer, and you come back to Ontario. You got a job with GLB.
I went to the UK first. So
okay.
I went. That's the second stop in the beer education journey. I guess the international beer tour. I suppose it was a very long one. I was abroad for about 3 years, 3.5 years. I went to the UK after that, and drank a heck of a load of real ale at that time as well. Which, again, it was just something we didn't have here. That was just different. I mean, there were a few places with cask on, but back then there wasn't really a whole lot. And I guess what kind of that kind of did for me, I suppose, was the just kind of opened up to what all these things are. What is beer? Is it just something that comes in a bottle, a brown bottle, or is it something in all these different forms and all these different things that it can do? And all these different ways that, I'd learned later on that you can manipulate this product in every different stage of the process of making this. You can tinker with the variables and create something completely different. And that to me was just it's a dream. Every little thing you can do, you can make something that's different and really good. So
Germany to the UK, German beers, UK real ale, back to Ontario.
Yep.
And you landed in Toronto?
I did, yeah.
And then you got a job with GLB.
I did, yep.
And that's when you started home brewing.
Yep.
Correct, yeah?
Correct, yep. Okay. The first beer I ever made, myself ever made, well, kind of myself, with a little help from a certain Mike, was actually a UK style. I was an 80 shilling, so a Scottish ale. But that was the first place I ever made beer personally, was at Great Lakes.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go.
Very, very interested in it. I always wanted it. And then hey, here's the pilot system that they had literally just built. Yep. I think Lackey was making pins of Bitter Wife for Volo on it. Yeah. And then he's like, yeah, there you go. Go have fun.
Yeah. And that was your first real beer that you think you brewed on the system.
It was the very first beer I ever made. Was on that system.
There's another piece of brewery trivia for someone right there. So when you left Great Lakes, and before opening Royal City in 2013, so that was a little bit of a 2 years or so.
Yep.
What were you doing during that time?
Various different things. I was a teacher, so I tried doing some of that. It just ultimately I realized I was in the wrong box with that.
Okay.
It wasn't something that I was particularly keen on doing. I then worked in just kind of corporate finance for a little while. Okay. So I'm somewhat mathematical by nature, I'd say. So I was kind of doing some corporate finance stuff, and I really didn't like that very much either. So as I say, Russ and I grew up together in Guelph. Yep. In Aurora. Moved to Guelph together for undergrad. He stayed out there the whole time. I went back. Russ is very much I think if you ask him what he does for a living, he would just say business.
Entrepreneur.
Yep, very much. And obviously he likes beer, he's really into beer as well. And just why don't we do this? So we did it. So here we are.
So he approached you to say, let's do a brewery?
Honestly, I don't remember where that idea came. I think it came out of a lot of beers.
Yeah.
And I think it was not like hey, we're going to do this. It was what would this look like? How would we do this?
If we could do this? Yeah.
And then we just did.
So that was 2013 where you opened the doors, but so there was planning in between those years, I assume, while you're doing
We actually got the doors open early in 2014.
2014, sorry,
Yeah,
but
so-
you established in 2013?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so 2013 rolls around and you become a co-founder. Why did you choose Guelph? Was it because you were living there, or was you identified a need to?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. The one was we were living there, like that was where we wanted to go. Talking with my wife, like, my wife's a professor. We needed a spot where actually she works at U of T, which is kind of ironic, but we wanted a spot that was kind of going to have access to post-secondary opportunities. Also, I freaking love Guelph.
Yeah,
we went there. I moved there back for an undergrad. I absolutely loved being in that city. That city was unlike any other place in Ontario, I think, at the time, and still is. It just felt very much like home right away when we moved there. As a 19-year-old idiot, it just felt like this is where I belong.
You really identified with the Birkenstocks and socks.
Yeah, that's it. They, pick up trucks and Birkenstocks. That was Guelph back in the day. Aggies and hippies. But
back in the day, is it the same?
We're a little more.
No offense, Guelph. I love Guelph. Guelph is great.
We're a little more metropolitan now, I would say. Getting there.
Okay, so
maybe just the metro. We're working on the politan part.
Yeah. So there's no brewery in Aurora, and so that's I was thinking this when I was looking up your background or trying to find anything about this, that you guys moved to Guelph. You started the brewery, but there's a void in Aurora, and so did you guys ever consider going home, both you and Russ, to do something kind of in the GTA?
Personally, no.
No. Okay.
I don't think Russ ever looked back either. When we left Aurora, in what's that, 99, 2000, Aurora had like 20,000 people. So like it wasn't very. Yeah, it was really. It was a bedroom. It was a bedroom
sleeper community of Newmarket, right? Yeah.
You're right. But no, it was just when at the time when I left there, pretty much everybody that I was friends with, everyone in my circles, all left as well.
Yeah.
I was an undergrad, so in like 2002, my parents moved out of Aurora as well. My granddad still lived there, but like.
You had nothing anchoring.
I had nothing anchoring me back there, and I was ready to leave that place.
Okay,
nothing, no aspersions in the place, but it was just like I was done there.
And how'd you find the location in Guelph to start Royal City?
It was actually really difficult, and we got really, really fortunate. The business may have been an incredibly different place then as then. Industrial space in the city is actually really hard to come by. And when we were trying to open the brewery, we actually fell into this kind of like little black hole where Guelph it's been a brewing center for hundreds of years. Guelph knows breweries. Guelph does breweries, but no one had opened a brewery in Guelph since Stonehammer in 93 or 4, or F&M at the time. And everybody who knew how the bylaws worked, how the licensing worked, had retired. So here we are in 2013, like trying to be like, hey, how do we can we do this? And they said, no, you can't. You can't have a brewery in Guelph. I'm like, well, there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
How can we not have this, right? And so it was basically a case of like trying to like coerce them into like figuring out how to make the stuff work. And one of the bylaws that we couldn't work around was that brewing was an industrial land use. So we wanted to do a small space. The goal for Royal City was always to be a community center, a spot for people to come down and interact with their neighbors, a place to bring people together. We wanted to be closer to the center of the city, but that was a hard no from the city. You cannot do this. So we wound up getting the closest industrially zoned land to downtown that we could get, which is on the east side of Guelph now, or then too. But we wound up getting that spot. But prior to that, we were looking like down the south end because this is where industrial land was available. It's just miles away from where people are.
Yeah.
But we wound up like a friend of a friend said, "Oh, I saw this like sign outside this building. You should go check out that." And we went in and we checked it out, and it was a business there that was trying to downsize its footprint, so they wanted to cleave off 3,000 square feet of their space. And we were like, "Yeah, we'll do this." So we're in a really good spot in the city. A lot of high traffic area. Lots of people come by our door every day.
And what's the address?
That's 199 Victoria Road
There
South.
we go.
Yeah, right at the corner of York and Victoria.
I've heard you say somewhere before, and maybe it was to me, but that you want people to think of Royal City as Guelph's brewery.
Yeah.
So there are others in Guelph, but you have named yourself after the actual city.
Yeah.
Guelph is known as the Royal City. And you try to convey that in your label artwork and your beer names. So walk me through why that is so important to you and why you and Russ decided that's the direction you're going to go in.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as I said, our initial goal, or still our goal for the brewery, is to be a space where our community can get together, where our community can sit across from each other, share a beer, share their information, share their stories, share their troubles, share their successes. We wanted to create that. And what better way to convey that this is a space for the community than naming ourselves after the community. So that, I think that was kind of the background thinking that we had, is that we want to be of this place, so we should call ourselves of this place.
And then you started doing labels and beer names that were...
Yeah. So we figured that the best way to tie ourselves to the overall space was to just become that. We got very fortunate with our designer, our artist, Kai Sapoulis. We actually, I was out at the Red Brick Cafe, which is a spot, shout out Red Brick, spot downtown Guelph.
Yep.
And, we're trying to say, we should be of this place. We want our art to represent this place. And she had a triptych of like a street scene of downtown Guelph, but it's kind of like at an odd angle, and you have to look at it for a minute to recognize what you're looking at. And she had that on the patio there at the Red Brick. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Who painted that? And Google. And I was like, so we met up with Kai and we pitched the idea, and she's like, yeah, totally, I'm in. And she's done all of our art since. So
since day one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. So she kind of like took like 2 or 3 stabs to hit like what we're looking for, our style, and ever since then, like everything she's done is exactly right the first time.
We're going to talk about some of your beers pretty soon. Sure. So we'll wait to talk about the names for those, but tell me about your partner in crime, Russ.
Yeah.
So the other co-founder of the brewery. You've gone through how you've connected, you grew up together, but I want to go back to what you said earlier. You guys just decided one day, hey, let's just do this. There had to be more intention to that. There had to be more. It wasn't just spur of the moment.
No, it was not.
Yeah. So what was it that you guys said, you know what? We're so in love with beer each. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a beer and teacher. Let's start a brewery.
Russ and I know each other very, very, very well, I would say. The risk of using like the trite phrase, brothers from another mother kind of thing. I've known Russ since we were 11 years old.
Okay.
And as soon as I want to say, as soon as we started like actually going through some of this was just inevitable. Mm-hmm. This is where we're going. With the limited knowledge at the time and still limited knowledge that I have of brewing and making beer. And I say that just because you can never have fully comprehensive knowledge of this. It kind of was like, this is where we're going. Mm-hmm. Personally, I'm not a very good employee. I'm sure Peter would say that too. I'm not a very good employee in that I like to take things and make them work. I like
to say you're a barn cat. You're not an indoor cat. You like to roam. You like to do things on your own time, your own.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I get into some trouble doing that as well. And every now and again, you got to chase me away with a shovel.
You got to remember that you're a co-founder. You manage people. Yeah. You lead people, not manage people, but you lead people.
I try to.
Yeah.
I try to. Ask the people, I guess, how well I do at that. I'm sure the answers vary.
So how challenging was it, though, to be friends with someone since you were 11 and then to start a business with them? Have you had challenges along the way?
Of course. Yeah. I think the challenge is
not challenges in the business, but challenges working with your best friend as co-founders.
Yeah. as I say, Russ and I know each other really, really, really well. And I think that a lot of the challenges that we have had, we knew we were going to have. Like, this isn't like a surprise, like all of a sudden, oh my goodness, it's like, no, like this is just who each of us are. And I think that, we've been at this 12, 13 years now, and we're still standing. Mm-hmm. We don't have any other owners. We haven't brought in anybody else to try and take up some of this. Yep. So it's like, I think by and large, we do work very well together just because.
You don't fight in front of the kids.
Exactly.
Good.
To be fair, we don't fight very much at all either. A lot of what we do, I like, Russ is very, very good at a bunch of different things. And those are things that I'm not very good at.
You complement each other.
We complement each other fairly well. And, there's areas where, you know what, I don't agree with you, but you're better at this, so you got it. And that's the way you go.
So acknowledging the strengths and weaknesses of each other. So over the years, what's the one mistake that you guys made early on that taught you something valuable that you've used to strengthen the brand over the years, the business?
I would say early days. We learned that, and this is, sorry, we were saying this is a me thing. This is very much my problem or my mistake. We learned to listen to the market. We learned to listen to what the people who are coming to our place were telling us. Mm-hmm. And the example I'm going to give is like, you're going to like roll your eyes and go like, what the hell's wrong with you? But when we opened the door, I was like, you know what? Everybody makes IPA right now. We're not going to launch with IPAs.
I'm not going to roll my eyes. Yeah. I'm just going to say you're stupid. Man.
Yeah, you're totally accurate.
But at the same time, no, it's not.
But
you chose the path that you thought you would succeed in. So it's not a dumb decision, I would say, or it's just you thought, okay, everyone else has an IPA, the brewery down the street has an IPA, or breweries are all over, but we're going to focus on what we do best at the time.
Yeah, and it was a conscious decision that we weren't going to launch with this. And we were wrong. We were incredibly wrong. And so we had to fix that. But again, that was the feedback from, so I guess that was one of the first foible, like major missteps we made, was just thinking that we knew better than the people who are actually going to be drinking our product. Okay. Or sorry, we're the people that are drinking our product as well. But like knowing better than the people who are supporting this business when they drink their product.
A lot of craft brewers always say that we brew what we want to drink without thinking what the consumer wants
to buy.
So
exactly.
Yeah. In the early days of your startup, were you the one doing all the brewing?
Yeah. I was, yeah.
The one coming up with all the recipes. So how cool is it to see like your recipes still alive today?
It's honestly really humbling.
Yeah. You're not brewing anymore?
I don't know. I don't brew anymore. We have a person that's way better than me at it now, doing it now. Matt McConnell, our head brewer, he's a bit of a legend. And it's really cool to see him take a lot of the stuff that I started with and make it a lot better.
And what kind of system were you working on back when you guys started up?
We were kooky. We did this on an utter and complete shoestring. We had a 4-barrel electric brew kettle that we got from Stout Tanks out of Portland, Oregon.
Electric.
So
you're trying to follow in the Great Lakes footsteps, eh?
Well,
did you burn any beer?
Oh, not any, all. No, it was, it was, why do things easy when you can do them the hard way?
You grow from that, right? Yeah, you learn from that.
I spent like countless hours scrubbing elements after long days, trying to get all the trube off them. But yeah, so we put in a 4-barrel electric brew house. We were doing double batches on a 4-barrel, which it's
a long day
for not much beer.
Yeah.
We launched
that first beer that you drank as soon as you were done your double brew day was probably just glorious.
It was wonderful. It was I still remember sitting there back door open and in a little crappy IKEA chair that we bought and knocking back pints. And it was it's hard to describe what that feeling actually is. It's just how like liberating and fulfilling that is to like, hey, this is something that ultimately we're doing for ourselves.
Yeah.
And here I'm drinking a beer that ultimately I made after a long day of making beer.
And then you're looking at your
really
tap
cool.
room eventually and seeing people gathered around, smiling, raising a glass with each other.
Yep, and that was the vision. That's what we wanted to do, and it was really cool. It's like it's really hard to describe how that actually feels. And I'm looking back and thinking about it now, I feel like I'm a little flushed here, as you can tell on the radio.
Yeah, on the radio. All right, this is syndicated across Canada. So you start off with the very small system, and you're mentioning today you have the 3-head cask and line filler.
No, we have we only have a 2-head goose.
2-head goose. Sorry, we were talking about the old Great Lakes
you
one.
guys
Okay,
have an old
okay,
cask
so two-head goose filler. So how has the brewery changed from a production standpoint since you opened the doors?
Dramatically, night and day. It has feels like it has never stopped evolving since we opened things up. One of my big things is, and one of the things that I kind of talked about at the beginning, is that for my own personal journey as a brewer and a brewery owner, is process. I find process utterly fascinating. The idea of, it's not like what you get in the can or the bottle or whatever it is, the keg. It's how does it get there? What do we have to do to get this sack of malt into this on somebody's patio table or deck table, right? And so kind of seeing how that's where we started from and what we knew at the time, which was nowhere near enough, to where we are now, where we still don't know everything we need to know, but just seeing how that has grown and evolved, and the things that we take care of, the things we pay attention to now, there's so much more the how. Yeah.
So you increased, or you invested in some new equipment, I take it then?
Yeah, we so after about 18 months of scrubbing elements, we got tired of that.
Is that quick? Yeah.
Okay. We moved up to a 10 US barrel steam system. Okay. We still have the same brew house now. Yep. So we brew 10 barrels at a time, or 13 hex roughly. We do everything with hex, but the systems was US barrels.
It depends on who you talk to. At Great Lakes, we walk people around and say, "Oh, we have a 50 barrel tank or mash lauter ton, but we have 120 heck fermenters." So it changes all the time.
Yeah, we get to be jacks of all trades up here. We get to get in all kinds of different units. But at the time, we had a cellar with probably about 8 tanks in it. 3 of them were like single batch tanks. 3 of them were double batch. Then we had a couple of triples. Expanded the cellar a little bit since then. We've added probably about 4 more fermenters. We have about 12 total tanks right now. And they range from 10 barrel to 30.
Okay. So when you opened the doors in 2014, it was a small footprint.
Yeah.
And, you'd walk in and there'd be you and Russ sitting at the bar. And there was hardly any seats. Well, I shouldn't say hardly. There was enough seats, but it was a very small footprint. Over the years, you've taken over more space in that industrial footprint.
Yep.
What year did you guys kind of knock everything out and go from, this is our small tap room with a very small brew house, to we have the beer hall? Yeah. What year was that?
We opened the beer hall in November of 2022.
2022. So you went from Guelph's little community hub to Guelph's big community hub. You're hosting weddings. You're doing food. What prompted you guys to make that? It's a huge shift from we're just going to brew beer and have it on tap to we're now going to be a full-fledged hospitality company.
Yeah. Necessity, I would say, was what pushed it out there. It's twofold, I would say. So the first one was that, we had this lofty goal of being this community space, this hub, this place where people could come together. But as I mentioned, we had just under 3,000 square feet total space for our business. And 1,500 of that was production. Yeah. Maybe 1,800 of that was production. So it left us like a tap room that could accommodate maybe 15 to 20 people max. Yeah. And that's like, touching elbows. So early on, we recognized that, we're kind of hamstrung by what we want to do. We can't really do with what we have right now. And so that was, and then, to exist and be viable as a business, we have to generate more revenue than we can in this space. So we pushed out LCBO, did licensee distribution. But it was never really what we wanted to do. And I think in this, in Ontario, as a brewer in Ontario, it's very, very difficult. It's a very, very bold choice to say, forget the LCBO.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
It seems to be more and more these days when breweries open. It's the first thought in building the business is we need people here at our space. Then we'll move to the LCBO or other retail channels. You guys may have been a little ahead of the curve saying, we're going to do all that stuff. We're going to get the beers out to retail, but we're also we know, or your vision maybe I'm putting words in your mouth. Our vision is we want people to come here. We don't need all the extra bells and whistles on the outside. We want to build something here.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And we just wound up with not being able to do that based on the footprint that we had. And so it was always kind of in the back burner of what we wanted to do. We went pretty far down the rabbit hole with looking to buy some land near where we were, near where the brewery was, and build on it for various different reasons, mainly municipal red tape and issues we had with what was feasible from the city's standpoint. We didn't go too far down that route. We went down that route, but realized it wasn't going to be something that we could ultimately afford to do. Then COVID happened. We became Amazon overnight, as everyone did. We were actually really fortunate in that we had just built out our entire Shopify site in October of 2019. With the idea, we're just going to sell brewery tours and maybe some other stuff on this, but it was the whole back end was built. We had to close. Alcohol is essential. All we had to do is take some pictures and push publish.
Yep.
And 3 or 4 days out of the gate, we were Amazon effectively.
Were you out doing deliveries too?
I have never worked so hard in my life as I did that for that first 5 or 6 months of COVID. I was in the truck probably 15 to 16 hours a day, dropping beer around. Which, super grateful. Thank you, Guelph. Thank you, everyone, for keeping the doors, not the door open, but the lights on. The lights on anyway. The bay door open anyway, during that period of time.
Shut it, you're letting all the heat out.
No, the airflow was good, actually, at that point in time. I thought we were all pro that. So yeah, COVID happened, and our neighbor, whose unit we kind of cut in half to move into the first place, we knew he was trying to sell the business. We knew he wanted out. He was an old guy. He wanted to retire. We knew he was kind of done, and COVID, I think, was the final nail for him. He was just like, forget this. I've had enough. And we knew that we couldn't get better industrial space in the city. They changed that law after we opened up anyway, by the way. So now a couple of people have opened up closer to downtown in smaller operations. But we knew we couldn't get any industrial space to do what we wanted to do. We knew it was going to be very difficult for us to buy more space or to move into a new space. So we offered to buy our neighbor out. So we bought out his business and moved it over to the warehouse that we had a little further out of town. So that business still operates out of that warehouse.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Right now it's called VTR Uniforms. We wound up making our own merch, so it's kind of helpful that way too. Yeah. But
so the shirt you're wearing right now is you guys made it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. But that business has been in Guelph for a while. It's been probably 25 years that was been running there. So it was established. It was I don't want to say it does not run itself by any means, but it was a natural kind of fit for us to take this over, put it over there. And now we have the footprint to do what we wanted to do.
You took it over and you built a tap room, or a restaurant, or
beer hall. We call it
beer hall, event space. So pretend I've never been there.
Okay,
walk me through it.
Yeah. So what we kind of wanted to do was, first off, the first question we always used to get back in the day before we built this out was, can we rent the space? Can we rent the space for smaller groups? And the answer was always no, because this is the only way we have to
15, 20 people.
Yeah, it's kind of small. So we knew there was some appetite for just kind of private event space in the city. So what we did is we gutted the whole building, the whole unit. It's about just shy of 10,000 square feet now. We gutted the whole unit, kind of split it up the middle. So we now have all the production in the back, all the brewing operations, packaging operations, all in the back. And we built the hospitality space in the front. So roughly, it's a rough, even split, 5,000 square feet roughly to each space. And from the production standpoint, this is like a dream. It was like literally a game of horizontal Tetris in that place. Every time we wanted to package anything, which was every day, there's like 2 hours of setup, package, 2 hours of tear down, get everything out of the way so we can get to the back door again. And when we did this, we got to like put our equipment in place and not move it anymore, which was just like, it's the little things in life, right? It really is.
Yeah.
Brings a tear to my eye. So with the back of the brew building is all production space, production and packaging, and the front is all hospitality. So when you come into the beer hall at the front, get back to your original question. I have this habit of going on like random tangents and using Russ always gives me grief for I can't explain it in 50 words or less.
I say if you can have a couple drinks of a beer and you can't explain what your point is, then you've lost the plot. Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll try to keep this into like 1.5 drinks.
All right.
Here we go. But the idea we kind of wanted to do is we wanted to have a beer hall.
Yeah.
Again, like I looked at the time I spent living in Germany, and like this is where people go to congregate. Like this is what they want. And I didn't want to try and like copy that because wouldn't be authentic. It wouldn't be like that. That's what that situation's like there. So we try to do like a kind of a North American interpretation or a modern interpretation on what like a beer hall would be. So it's all like benches, long tables, benches, all communal seating. Big old concrete bar in the corner. Our building was the Guelph Stove Factory, built in 1903 or 4 or something like that. So we kind of have to try to preserve the industrial heritage of the building a little bit. Yeah. So it's got like a rough, beat up old concrete floor and exposed brick on the one side from the OG wall.
How many taps do you have?
20.
20. And they're all your own brands.
We have 2 ciders from Guelph. There's also Revel and McQuaid's we have online. We have a wine tap for red and white, and all the rest are ours. So 16 of our own beers.
Nice.
Yeah.
What sets you then now, today, with what you have built in Guelph? What sets you apart from the other breweries there?
You know what? That's. I think the answer. I'm not going to answer that question. I'm going to answer a different question.
Okay.
I think what we do is complement the industry in Guelph.
Okay.
I think what Guelph has as a brewing culture and a brewing scene is it's unlike anywhere else in Canada for a city of its size or a space of its size. We literally have, a small brew pub downtown, from Brothers to the 3rd biggest brewery in the country in Sleeman. I find that the scene that we have there complements itself really well and fits very well together. So I don't like to think of what sets us apart. It's like, how do we fit into this overall picture of what beer and brewing in Guelph is? Guelph's been a brewing center for a very, very long time. And so kind of beer and the beer scene is really much baked into who we are as a city, I think.
And as a city, Guelph, that we talked about how unique Guelph is in Ontario, you guys work so incredibly well together, the different breweries. So you're sitting at a table with someone from Sleeman sharing, well, this is who you have to touch base with at City Hall or the government or whatever. You guys run the Guelph beer bus and you run a bunch of different things. Why is that so important to you as a co-founder of a brewery in Guelph, that you guys are all so tight and in sync with each other?
Yeah, we're bigger than the sum of the parts. I think that's the answer. Is that we don't have all the answers to all the problems that we're going to have. We don't have all the pieces that we need to put the overall picture together. There's strength in numbers. Lean on your colleagues, lean on your friends, and together we all lift each other up. I think. We've been very, very fortunate that we have Sleeman in Guelph. Because they're really good at lifting us up and helping us out as an industry.
That's good to hear, though, too.
Absolutely. And like we have a QC issue. Can we use your lab? Yeah, sure. Come on down.
That's amazing. Yeah,
they have some equipment that costs literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
What you're saying is you have to keep them in the good books to use their lab.
They say they're very generous with their time and their talent.
Yeah.
As a company, same thing with Welly. Like Welly has a shrink wrapper. We don't.
That's the Wellington brewery.
Yeah, sorry, Wellington.
Brad's been on this show and he talked a lot about you guys and all the other breweries, and so I find that the common thread is you guys all love each other.
Yeah, we're all
makes
BFFs.
Makes it Guelph.
We're BFFs, absolutely.
You guys started co-packing as well, too.
We did, yeah. That kind of just came out of a fact, like, we have, so when we moved to the beer hall model, like the idea that, we don't have to push our product out as far as we can now.
LCBO,
we don't have to be in every LCBO in the province. We realized that we were going to trade volume when we did that. We're ultimately, talking business here. We were trading volume for margin.
Yep.
We're trading volume for control and better, better insight into the experience that we have with our guests and with our drinkers, folks that enjoying our beer.
I hate the word, but you pivoted. You went from one model to focusing on what you really wanted to do, which was your model.
Yeah, exactly. And what we knew when we did that, this is going to, we have a lot of capacity that we're not going to use when we do this, because we're not going to sell as much beer through our 16 taps and our 3 fridges as we're going to through 700 LCBOs. Yeah. And we knew that. But that left us with a lot of capacity.
And the margins are a lot different.
Very, very different. Absolutely. Yes. And that is alluring. Yeah. So, rather than chasing pennies at the LCBO, we can sell a lot less beer, but do a little bit better on that beer and have a much better experience with our customers. But that left a lot of capacity open in our plant. And I say, I like to tinker with things. I like to play around. I like to make things work and work well. And so we just wound up with a lot of time left. We have a canning line, we have a depow, we have a pasteurizer, which is a funny story how we have a pasteurizer as a small brewery. But I can tell you that one in a minute. But we have all this equipment that we're 20%, 25% of the time is running beer. So why don't we run other things in it? Yeah. So we spent about a year learning a lot about how pasteurization works. We spent another year, that same year, putting together a HACCP plan. So food safety protocols for the plant. Again, kind of really small or really odd for a brewery our size to have that, because it's a lot of work. It's pretty much one guy's full-time job is dealing with it. But what this let us do is it produces other beverages for third parties that they can then sell in their own channels, because there are grocery channels in particular.
It could be soda, hop water, cider,
tea, all kinds of different stuff. We do all kinds of different stuff right now. We work probably about 30 different producers right now off the top of my head. Just making kind of one-off products for them. At our scale, we're not going to be terribly competitive if this takes off and you're in every Loblaws in Canada. Yeah. But what we are is a spot where people can kind of get their foot in the door. They're going to outgrow us, but we can be their partner to get them going.
Amazing.
And that's kind of what we're looking at.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to jump into some of your beer lineup.
All right.
Have a drink. We'll be right back with Campfire.
There appears to be only one line on this sheet. $50 for a case of Great Lakes Premium Lager. That's it? That's the ad? Okay. Cases of Great Lakes Premium Lager are only $50 every day of the year.
Okay, we're back. That was a good little catch up there. We had some beers in that little break. I want to talk about your beer for a second.
Yeah.
I want to know, what's the first beer that you opened with, and why did you choose that one to say this is Royal City?
I'd say the first beer that we kind of like hung our hat on was called Smoked Honey, and the answer was because it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
I would say of the stuff that I was brewing at home and on my on our homebrew setup, that was the one that was the best received by beer drinkers and then folks we were sharing with at the time. I think that was probably the furthest along we had come. And again, back to what we were saying earlier, like everybody had an IPA, we want to do something a little different. So that was the first beer we kind of launched with, our, like, I guess, flagship, for lack of a better word, at the time.
Are you still brewing that today?
We do, yeah. We do.
It's year round or seasonal?
It's more seasonally now. Yeah. It has changed. It's changed dramatically over the 12 years.
For sure.
That beer has. But we keep trying to, like, all right, this was an example of what this brewery was when we first started. I don't think it fully representative of what we do today. And we keep trying to retire it. And then everyone's always like, "Oh, where's the smoked honey? Where's the smoked honey?"
Well, that's because that's what you open with. People
Yep.
that supported you from day one fell in love with it.
Yeah. And so that was number one. And actually was a seasonal in the LCBO in the fall this year. So
Okay.
we still had it out and around Guelph and the Tri-City. A couple of LCBOs through this way. But
What are the beers that you have in the LCBO?
yeah, so Exhibition is our flagship now, our session IPA.
Yep.
Bootlegger Cream Ale as well, and we do a couple of seasonals here and there. So Smoked Honey was in, and we have a Peach Rattler that we do spring summer.
And I assume that's pasteurized.
It 100. It is very, very, very pasteurized. Yes, indeed.
I love hearing people say that they have a Radler, they have something, whatever, like that, and then they go, "Oh no, we didn't pasteurize it." No, good luck. Good luck.
Yep. There's a couple of very recent examples of how that goes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to ask you right now.
Oh no, not our examples.
Not yours. Yeah,
not our
no, that's what I
examples.
mean. Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
So, what beers are you guys known for?
I think
What you just said, the ones you just said.
I think Exhibition is the biggest. It's probably my favorite story anyway. Favorite.
Tell me the story.
So I say it was the first IPA that we tried to make,
Mm-hmm.
and I say tried because it took a little while to get it figured out. Again, this is back in 2014, so like there was obviously very, very good examples of IPA at the time.
But still
Pointing your way.
But still newish.
Yep. We basically we launched that. We had that beer. It was probably our one of our biggest selling beers. Today, X is 50% of our sales is that beer.
Yep.
Everything else is the other 50%. We had this beer. I was trying to make it work, trying to make it better, trying to make it good, presentable. We had small brewery problems, learning brewery problems with oxidation, how to treat IPAs. And the story goes, it was about 2017, 2018, end of 2017. I was out at one of the bars in Guelph with some folks, and somebody bought me a pint of Exhibition. And I grabbed it, and I had a sip, and I'm like, this is fucking awful.
Oh.
It was terrible. I was really, everyone's like, "No, it's fine." I'm like, no, it's really not.
Yeah.
And I was really upset, and I went back to the brewery the next morning, and I'm like, all right, forget it. We're doing this again. And we spent that entire year figuring out how to make that beer.
So that's probably the one you're most proud of right now, I would assume.
Yeah, I think so. For me, speaking for
you.
me as the brewer,
This
as
is
the former brewer.
This is you in the hot seat right now.
fair enough. For me, that was it. We spent that entire year looking at every piece of the process, how we handled every little bit of this product. We changed up a lot of the process of how we make X. X has 2 fermentations. We re-ferment X. That's a little.
Yeah.
No one. I don't think I've ever told anyone that before. But we re-ferment X. It gets a re-ferment while it's on the dry hops, rather than just like a straight up, pitch the hops before the ferment's finished. It actually gets a full re-ferment with the yeast that dries it out a little bit more. And the very next year, so we did that, spent pretty much all of 2018 messing around with that. And in 2019, we won a gold medal at Canadian Brewing Awards
right.
for X.
There you go.
And so I was
And
pretty...
the smile is coming. There it is.
Yeah. Does that mean, it means it was a very, very, very good beer.
Well, it's got to be a feather in the cap that you guys identified that you need to fix it.
Yeah.
You fixed it and you won a gold.
So that was, for me, that's probably my one of my favorite stories of how that
I would assume so. Yeah.
My other favorite beer that we make is our Oktoberfest. It's it's a Märzen, a fest beer based off of Märzen, so it's dark, it's malty, it's
Goes back to your German tours.
Yep, that one won the first gold medal the brewery ever won, was for that beer. And I know Matt tells me that he has not changed that beer at all. That is still the exact same way we've been making it since 2014. So
there you go.
That one is those are my one too. So
now you guys were one of the last breweries, I think the last modern Ontario craft breweries to bottle your beer.
yeah.
I think so. I think Collective Arts was doing some, Muskoka was doing some, but I think you guys were probably one of the very last.
I think Wellington decommissioned their bottle line like months after we did. So they still had like SPA.
Oh, okay,
and
yeah,
355s,
but you guys
330s.
were 100% in bottles though.
Yeah.
So why did you and Russ go, you know what? everyone's doing cans. We're going to do bottles.
It actually wasn't that contrarian thing this time. It was money.
Yeah.
A Maheen cost a hell of a lot less than a Wild Goose.
Yeah.
When we started the brewery, we didn't do any packaging.
Maheen's a bottling line for those listening. Yeah.
There you go. Sorry. We had a little two-head Maheen bottling line. And so the entry level bottling equipment was, 20 to 25% of the price of entry level canning equipment.
But then you made that change in 2017 because of you had the money to do so, or that you were listening now to consumers?
A bit of both.
Okay.
I think I guess this would be it. I was out in Vancouver, and I was going around all the breweries in Vancouver and picking up stuff, and I'm like, why are this all in bombers? This is 650s. Like, I gotta carry this home. Come on, this is heavy. I gotta check a bag. I'm like, oh yeah, cans are a lot lighter, aren't they? They're a lot easier. That's what the
LCBO was buying at the time. Still is.
And the LCBO was very much pushing the industry that way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we made we just decided that was clearly what people wanted. It's what I wanted when I thought about it for a second. Just being something that's a little bit lighter and easier to transport. So yeah, we made the Wild Goose in 2017. But when we first started, we didn't have any packaging at all. It was just in growlers.
Yeah. Oh, I remember those big 4-liter ones that you guys had there too.
There's 144 of those in existence, and every now and again,
I got one.
There you go. I know where 4 of them are now. And that's good. That was all growlers. Just because again, we just couldn't afford the packaging equipment, so we bought one of those Pegasus craft tap fillers,
which were the gold standard, because they purged of oxygen and then the CO2 again. Yep. But I remember coming down when you guys, I guess would have been first open, and I don't know what you put in. I can't remember what beer. It might have been bootleg back then. If you had it back then.
We didn't, no.
So there was something you would have put in. It was one of your flagships back in the day. And I remember bringing that back to the brewery. And they're like, 4 liters of this. Wow. But it was a good novelty thing. Just quickly, you've branched out recently and launched a line of Royal City sodas.
We have, yeah.
So what's that all about? If you can you said you were food safety and all that stuff, but touch on that real quick.
So this kind of grew out of kind of where I see a lot of the industry, a lot of trends anyway going right now. People are drinking less and less. There are lots of different reasons why people can't drink alcohol, whether it is religious reasons, health reasons, addiction reasons. But there's no reason someone can't drink a flavored water. So it allows us to access a different and a wider market in our hometown than we would have just through beer. So I think it kind of, we have a fairly good understanding of who our customers are in Guelph. We're fairly well known by the people in Guelph, I believe, or beer drinkers in Guelph at least. And this gives us a way to speak to a different group of people and to kind of bring them into the community as well. We don't want to ultimately be in a spot where we're excluding a group of people because they either don't like or can't drink alcohol.
And where are you selling these?
Through our through the beer hall, and in convenience stores, markets, Market Fresh in Guelph, Park Grocery.
And how's it going?
Fairly well. We've seen a fair we make probably. We have 5 flavors of flavored water and 4 pops that we have right now. We're probably brewing at least one batch, like 10-hec batch of them a month. So we're moving through probably about 80 cases per month of them locally, which is pretty good for us.
Oh, nice. And it's just in Guelph right
just
now?
In Guelph right now. Guelph. Just in Guelph. So if you want to try it, come on down. It is on our website if you want to try that.
Well, I was kind of hoping you'd bring some here today. But
I brought you some of the non-Alex.
You got me some beers, so I'm very happy about it. So what's next? What's next with Royal City? Upcoming beers, some new series, any more expansions in the works, or what's getting you excited these days?
My big thing right now is I just want to grow into what we have. Expanding is hectic. It's a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort, a lot of risk. Taking on a lot more and trusting that what you have is going to allow for that to continue, and allow for that momentum to continue to fill in behind you when you take a big step forward. So right now we're not like the expansion is done for the foreseeable. What we really want to do is just kind of keep doing what we're doing. Try to keep being the space in the community, trying to keep being the community partner that we are. I really do firmly believe that when you talk about being a community partner, it's a two-way street. It has to be reciprocal. We expect the community to come down and support us, and if we're not out there active, giving our time, our money, and our people to people in the community who are asking us for that help and for that representation or for that exposure, then that's not really a community relationship.
Yeah.
So kind of continuing doing that, helping out, doing what we can to support those folks around us. And then just continuing to do what we do in the beer hall. We host a bunch of different events. We try to bring try to appeal to various different groups and different themes and different nights. We do a lager fest every month, every year, where we have a complete tap takeover of lagers from across the province. Didn't bring any GLB in this time, but you guys have been on the last two, so I know.
I think we sent Martzen down one year.
You
did
did,
we not?
yep.
Yeah, we did.
You
Yeah.
did.
Now last night you were busy working.
Yeah.
While we were preparing this, you were slinging pints and dropping schnitzel, you said?
That's right, yeah.
So you're very active in the day-to-day activation of everything at Royal City.
I, as a person, as a dude, I guess, I do best when I have my hands in something. I got to get my hands dirty to understand how things work.
So there's no sitting back and just letting the team. Well, there is, but
there
is. Sorry, but there's no slowing down for you. You're in this. You're working there every day.
This is my thing. It's it has become so much a piece of my identity and who I am. I guess I couldn't just sit back and say everyone else can take care of this. I'll be up here drinking some beers. That has happened, but I'm a type of guy who likes to have his hands in things. I like to be engaged, and if it also gives me a good chance. So like Wednesday nights is my bartending night. I'm the bartender on Wednesdays. And it just gives me a really good chance to get out and talk to our people. Talk to people, come in, interact with our guests, interact with our customers.
That's invaluable as well too.
And
you get to have. You're probably not drinking behind the bar, but. No, not at all. Okay. And last question before we get to the lightning round. And this is one that I ask most co-founders that come on the show. Today, what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who wants to start a brewery?
It's a really hard question to answer. I think the best piece would be to be very clear about what you want your brewery to be. Be very clear on what you want to do and go and do it. Taking the time to think about how you define what you want to be and putting the effort and the planning together to reach that. Beer is awesome because it's such a passion project. It's an industry that just attracts people who really love what they do and really love beer. And I think that a lot of times there can be a bit of a disconnect between the passion you have for the product and the passion that you have to bring to the project. Mm-hmm. And so I think making sure that they take time to consider the project, not just the product, would be the advice I give. Yeah,
that's a great one. Yeah. Well, Cam, the long answers, the long questions, they're all done.
All right.
We passed. We've got people out there listening. This is more Cam than as
5-0 and go.
That's ever out there in the ether.
I try to keep myself behind the scenes. So this is not a common or a comfortable thing for me, to be completely honest. But happy to help out. Happy to be here.
Well, we're going to hear from our pal Octo, and when he's done telling you that you should buy fighting weight, we're going to come back with some rapid fire questions. Sounds sec.
Good.
Hey peoples, Octo here. I like a good punch-up from time to time, but after too many donuts lately, I gotta get down to my proper poundage. So my sparring partners at GLB brewed a beer just for me. Fighting Weight Session IPA. Big flavor, but it's 3.6% ABV and only 100 calories. It's the perfect beer between training sessions, then get back to some truculent head busting. Fighting Weight Session IPA from GLB. Now at the LCBO and select beer stores across Ontario. Hey, losing a few never tasted so good.
All right, Cam, we're almost there.
All right.
Let's do this fast.
No screw ups.
No screw-ups. What beer have you been enjoying recently that's not a Great Lakes or a Royal City?
I have to go to the grocery store to do the shopping, and I can't walk by that shelf and see Czechvar or Pilsner Urquell for $2.75 a can and not buy it.
Great answer. Name a brewery that has consistently impresses you. Sorry, let me ask that again. Name a brewery that consistently impresses you.
Town Brewing. Tommy's operation out there is first rate. I like them, and I like the stuff they do.
Shout out to Jeffy Boy. Name a person in the industry that has or continues to inspire you.
OG inspiration. Can't look any further than George Eagleson. Very happy and very fortunate when we opened the brewery that old Jorge was hanging out at a F&M Stonehammer. Got to learn, got to appreciate that energy and that commitment and passion, and that was really inspirational back in the day.
George,
sure.
If you're listening,
give us a call, buddy.
You're loved, bud.
We love you, man. Give us a call.
Best time and place for a beer
now.
What's a beer style you think deserves more love?
Keller beer.
Oh, great answer.
Love me a Keller.
Yes. If you could only drink one beer for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Augustiner Edelpils. That is pretty much as good and clean.
Why aren't you a German brewery?
Because it's hard. It's really hard to do really well.
Best brewery you've ever toured? Let me guess. It's going to be a German brewery.
Brewery I've ever toured? No, it's not. It's going to be Sierra Nevada, Asheville. That was amazing what they did in that space.
Was that for a CBC?
No, I was just down there as a private citizen tourist.
Nice.
But yeah, how they built that entire space around the guest experience and integrated them into brewing. It was
helps when you have $1 billion in the bank too.
Absolutely, there's no problem on earth that all the money on earth won't solve. But that was very well done down there.
If you weren't doing the beer thing, what would you be doing?
Talking about the beer thing.
If you could have a beer with just one person in the whole world, dead or alive, famous or not, who would you choose?
Risk of getting misty here. I'd just say my dad, because he's kind of both dead and alive right now. So he's got pretty bad dementia, and I'd love to just go back and have a beer with the old man.
Yeah. And last one, if you could do it all over again, or if you had to do it all over again, would you change anything about your career in beer?
I'd start with a lot more money.
That's probably everyone.
I think everyone's going to say that. Yeah. Again, there's no problem on earth that all the money on earth won't solve.
Okay.
I would probably approach it substantially less. When this is going to try to give you a 50-word or less answer here. When people that first asked Russ and I when we started the brewery, what made you do this? And we've always just laughed and said arrogance. I would probably try to be less arrogant when we started it.
Okay.
We'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
Would have been better to have been
more intention.
Just more knowledge.
Yeah.
Or more access to knowledge, I think. Because we have figured it out, mostly. But having a little more would have been good.
Where can people listening to this right now find more information on Royal City?
Absolutely. On our socials is at Royal City Brew. And our website, www.royalcitybrew.ca.
And you're going to work on that About Us page, right?
Something like that, yeah. I'll tell you a little bit more about the brewery. Maybe not so much about me. You just heard all about me. You don't need an About Us page.
Cam, at the start of this podcast, I asked you to unpack the story today, your story, and you've done just that. And I'm very grateful for that. You've had a great journey, one definitely worth telling. And I'm thankful you did it here today on Between Two Fermenters. Here's to a great year ahead for you and the team at Royal City. Cheers.
Cheers, Troy. Thanks so much for having us down here. Very, very much appreciate it. And just big thanks to all the guys back at the brewery who make this possible for all of us. Y'all do a hell of a good job, and thank you. And thanks to you guys.
Thanks, Cam. And that's it. That's all, folks. Episode 55, Serendipity with Cam Fryer, co-founder of Royal City Brewery, has moved from the mash tun to the fermenters. Today's episode was fueled by cans of Great Lakes Light Lager, a 4% beauty that doesn't compromise on quality and taste. I've been sleeping on this one for years, but you can find cans and cases of it at the brewery retail store and tap room and at the GLB Brew Pub. And cans only retail for $3 and cases for $50. You can visit the brewery at 30 Queen Elizabeth Boulevard in Etobicoke or grab some delicious eats and fresh pours at our brew pub at 11 Lower Jarvis Street in Toronto. If you have any content you'd love to hear us discuss on the show, guest ideas, or just want to tell us what you're drinking, drop us a line at podcast@greatlakesbeer.com. Until next time, please remember to keep tipping your glass of fresh GLB in the right direction. Supporting local never tasted so good. And it's McDowell, not McDougal.
To learn more about what's happening at Great Lakes Brewery, visit greatlakesbeer.com and subscribe to our weekly newsletter or follow Great Lakes Beer on your favorite social media platforms.